How's it going, Mayor?
Hi, Mr. Romero. How are you, sir?
Good, good. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Fine, thank you.
Hi, Larissa.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there. Who's this?
Hello.
Lisa Five with Week here.
Hi. So we're going to go ahead and start the meeting. I don't. Everybody's joining in and then slowly. I think we have like 20 people besides me, so that's really nice. Thank you to Mayor Pro Tem David Romero. David, if you want to start the meeting off and maybe see who's on the line, and then we can get going, and I can introduce why we're here tonight and so forth. Mr. Romero?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Right now, if we go according to this, there's some phone numbers that I'm not aware of. Maybe if I don't mention their name, they could say who they are, but we have Chief Crispin on the line. We have Mr. Alan Elfeld on the line. Amanda Salas on the line. Bill Hendrickson, our Community Development Director. Chuck Grego is on here. Mr. Gabriel Garcia is on here. Kenneth Sternberg, Mr. Kenny Roy Ball. We have Krutik Bhakta, Ms. Larissa Archuleta, Ms. Loretta Martin, Ms. Rosemary Sanchez, Samantha Senas, Scott Aaron, Wayne and Kelly Sanchar, and Mr. Taylor. And now it looks like Angela Lister and Angie Lister joined us. And Sarah Jo Matthews joined us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, everybody. And I can't see the people with the phone numbers. If you want to just say hi to us and let us know who you are, that would be great. Hi, Meredith.
Mayor, Troy Dennison's on.
Welcome, Troy. Anybody else? Anybody else with the numbers that we cannot see? You're welcome to say hi.
This is Meredith. Can you see me?
Hi, Meredith. Yes, I can. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we'll get going. The main reason I wanted to meet tonight is to discuss the filming and the movie companies coming to town, and what they do for us, and how we can be better neighbors when it comes to the filming and so forth. And I just wanted to open up a general discussion as to how people feel about that. The reason why we're meeting was a response to a local merchant who isn't not so fond of the movie production. And I told him that I promised that I would have a meeting with the business community, and just to see how everybody's feeling, how everybody feels, and get some opinions as to, again, how could the city of Las Vegas be a better partner and a better neighbor when it comes to the filming industry. We all know that there's different, varying degrees of financial impact that the movie companies have on certain businesses. And of course, some is very positive for the community. And in a while, I'll invite Dr. Taylor. Are you on, Bill?
Yes, I'm here, Mayor.
Hi, Bill. I'll invite Bill Taylor and Chuck Riego to just give a little bit of a rundown as to some numbers and statistics that we have collected at the city as it relates to filming and the filming industry in Las Vegas. So right now, I'll let Chuck Griego talk about the current filming that's happening here and what we can expect here in the next couple of weeks. Mr. Griego, are you there?
Yes, Mayor, I'm here.
Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you. In the next couple of weeks, well, now in March, we'll have Roswell will be returning to do a couple more shoots, and then Outer Range will be back shortly after that. But we have about 4 other production companies coming in later on. But for right now, starting in March, we should have Roswell back.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about Roswell and Out of Range. What kind of future forecast we have with them, and how long have they committed to being in our community?
Roswell has just gotten approved for another season. They're filming season 3 right now, and they just were approved for one more season. Of course, they go, we find out every October, November, whether they're approved or not for a following year. But so for right now, Roswell will be with us for a little bit longer. Outer Range, we're looking, of course, it hasn't been picked up yet, but it's a big production. We're looking at about hopefully 4 to 5 years with Outer Range.
Wow.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It's going to be a big series.
Absolutely.
Outer Range, Mayor, it's a production from Amazon. The Roswell is a CW picture.
Yes. Thank you so much. And like I said earlier, we have these commitments from these movie companies coming to town and so forth. Mr. Taylor, Dr. Taylor, I'd like to maybe call on you and just give a little bit of background and a little bit of what the impact these movie companies have on the financial impact on the city, please.
Sure. I'd like to give you some very rough numbers, but they're numbers that seem reasonable to us. And as we go forward, Bill Hendrickson and Chuck Riego are working with the filming industry so that we could get regular reports from them about their expenditures while they're in town, so that we'll get finer information. But we posted a kind of economic impact report on the city's webpage, and the number that really jumps out at me, and I think really tells a lot, is if we compare gross receipts tax revenues November of this year compared to November of the prior year, And the big difference is that November of this year, there was filming going on. And in the year before, there wasn't. And so we got $200,000 more in gross receipts tax revenues. Well, the city's gross receipts tax rate is just slightly over 2%. So basically that means there was $10 million increase in economic activity, taxable economic activity in the city during that month. Now, is all of that attributable to the filming industry? Maybe, maybe not, but a lot of it was. So that's a very large impact. And then we have some information about how it impacted different businesses, hotels, private businesses that negotiate with the industry on direct payments. So the overall impact is quite large, and we're going to be able to fine tune those numbers as we go forward.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. I appreciate that. I'd like to hear maybe some comments from the people who are on this call as to the impact that it has on their business, negative or positive. I'd like for everybody to be open and with sharing with us tonight. And then again, if you have any ideas as to how, the city can be better neighbors with our business community, I definitely want to hear about that too. So I'll open up the floor. I know Mr. Dennison is there, and so is Mr. Bakta. If you just want to maybe talk a little bit about what impact these companies have on your businesses.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is Krutek Bakta.
Hi, Krutek. Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I mean, look, from those November numbers, I'm venturing to say, I mean, that February and even January, you're going to see an even greater response as far as gross receipts. And it's been that kind of impact, as far as, our businesses. I mean, in the hospitality industry, I mean, we've been hammered, for the year, with COVID, and man, this with the productions that have been coming in, I mean, it's a savior. They're having a tremendous impact on recovery. I couldn't imagine what things would be like without them here, and it's getting down to the smallest businesses. I have a mom pop as well. The mom pop that's been a motel that's been sitting empty is finally getting life. So we're reaching into our smaller businesses, and that impact is being felt. I mean, they're able to have some money to survive within this time period. So I couldn't say enough about that kind of impact, and to have an industry in town. A consistent industry, it's something else. I mean, having a revenue stream for this city that's consistent and solid would be great. I mean, it would be the start of something. It would be the start of rejuvenating the town to regrowing population. I mean, the hope is the next step is that we have some of these guys, they're homegrown. Some of the people that are within these productions, that we get them through and we get them the technical skills. So these sound engineers, everybody that's on this production, we start pumping them out of Las Vegas, and hopefully that's the inspiration. The internships start here. And so that's the next step that we should be doing. I would say we cultivate this industry so that, it goes with Las Vegas. Right now, these film production crews, they're loving it. They love Las Vegas. They love northern New Mexico. We're a popular spot. We need to do the correct things to embrace it and work with them in a way that's it's positive, and that's a good relationship for both of us. But I think we need to go in a positive nature, because in the past, we've kind of pushed things away and we've paid for it. The opportunities that we've had, we may have pushed away, and other towns took advantage of it. There's several towns across the state, hell, across the country, that would love to be in the position that Las Vegas is in now. I hopefully we can all work together and make sure that this is something we could do for the good of the community.
So as far as your hotels that you're operating, hi, Mr. Price, welcome.
Hello.
Hi. So Mr. Bhakta, thank you so much, and we really appreciate your time with us tonight. And so, which properties are you talking about when you say? I know it's Days Inn, and which other?
So we have the Best Western Days Inn and the Nights Inn.
Okay, thank you. So we're going down the line. Mr. Sancho, are you there? Mr. Wayne and Shelley?
Yeah, we're here, Mayor.
Hi, Wayne. Hi, Shelley. Welcome.
Thank you.
You know, we don't have. Yeah, thank you. We don't have. When the movies do come to town, you know, a lot of the time we are able to sell them certain products and things that they might need with regards to items that we stock, and you know, with the deal that they have with the state net, in order to get the tax credits, they certainly need to make sure that we do get paid in a timely manner. Mm-hmm. And you know, for that reason, it's had a positive impact on our business. We haven't been sort of in a film zone or anything very often to where it's caused any business disruptions to us. So, you know, from our standpoint, I think it's a positive thing for the community.
Thank you, Mr. Sancho. Thank you, Shelley, for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Let's jump down to, is there anybody else on the call that would like to share their experience with the filming industry?
Well, you know that I want to.
Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
So unfortunately, we're on Douglas Avenue, which is where a lot of these film companies want to actually film, and it causes major disruptions to our street, and it causes us a lot of foot traffic. And on this last filming, I CC'd you in this morning, Louis, is that we lost $9,000 of business from our average daily business on Tuesdays from where we were. Now, the thing is that $200, what these movie companies are offering for disruptions to our type of a big box business that relies on foot traffic, does not suffice and does not cover the losses that we incur. And also the things that there's a lot of things that I want to touch base on. One thing is that Bill Hendrickson, as you know, came to the store as a representative of the city and told us that we were asking for, quote unquote, a lot of money. Now, that's not something, that's a shame tactic that the city should not be involved in. They should leave the negotiations to us, or they should present one rate for each and every business. Now, I know that this benefits businesses such as hotels, and that's fine. That's great. I'm happy for the hotels that it helps. I'm happy for the restaurants that it helps for after hours. But the thing is that the city can't pick the winners and the losers of this thing. You all have to help out the businesses that are affected by it as well. And definitely using shame tactics and violating a business's civil rights is not the way that it should be handled. And I've reached out to you, to Bill Hendrickson, and to Bill Taylor, and this movie company still owes me $9,000, and they are not paying us in a timely manner. They disrupt our trucks coming in and out. My guys can't load up merchandise. They have to carry merchandise an extra 30 feet out of the building. I've been on Bridge Street that hasn't been de-iced, and I know that Blowing in the Wind has to walk their merchandise over the street. I know that El Rialto is being shut down by this, and there's a catering van from Las Cruces on the back end of it that's not local. So this is not good for every local business, for sure. And for us, it definitely causes a big loss of money. And at the end of the day, the money that we get for the city in terms of taxes, that's what paves roads, that's what paves sidewalks, that's what puts books in schools. Not only that, that's what pays for everybody's salary that has a job with the city as well. And if the city is not charging these movie companies anything for their streets, the only benefit for the city is what goes to the actual businesses. So every business should benefit from this. And I feel like if the city was actually more organized and actually went and got rate sheets from everybody from Bridge Street and Douglas, which are the filming areas that are affected by this, and actually presented it to the movie companies and said, look, you can have our streets for free, but you have to pay each and every business this. That is what should happen, because each and every business does not operate the same. And like Mr. Sancher was saying, his business on Grand, it's not affected by this because their roads aren't blocked off. But if it was blocking Mills Avenue and it blocked cars from going in and out of there, and there was signs everywhere that said road closed, it certainly would, affect their business like it does ours on Douglas. And also I have a major problem with the city being yellow in COVID-19, and I see 900 people across the street in a small gathering, A, and B, that this is going to push a lot of people to hotspots for essential goods. People from Penderay in that area that don't know that there's a second access point to getting to our store and to Valdez Gamble's as well.
Mr. Mayor, can I make just a couple of comments? Mr. Mayor, you're muted.
Go ahead, Dr. Taylor. I'm sorry.
I just want to make a couple of comments. One, I think that Mr. Price makes an important point that, this is a business-to-business transaction. So, I've discussed this with Bill Hendrickson. He doesn't remember anything like Mr. Price suggests, but we have made it clear that this is something that each business.
Bill, hold on 1 second. I want to put my wife on so that she can verify this. And I also have about 5 to 10 other employees that did. And just for the record, the city has been sent a cease and desist letter from doing this before, a previous administration to you all. Now, maybe Bill did not know this when he came into the store. But one thing that you all do know about me, you all have known me a long time. There's one thing that I am not, and I am not a liar. And Bill Hendrickson did enter our store and tell us that. He said, quote unquote, we are asking for a lot of money. Now, neither you nor Louis Trujillo nor Bill Hendrickson understand or know how much it takes to run a business like ours, even before the doors open. The expenses are immense. So I do have a lot of witnesses that were there at the store because Bill also came in without an appointment, unannounced, in the middle of a very busy day, where he did say that we were quote unquote asking for a lot of money, which is a shame tactic, and the city has been sent a cease and desist letter from us stating that this is in fact a shame tactic and a violation of our civil rights as a business.
I was there, and Chuck Gragel was there with him as well. So if Bill doesn't remember, then maybe he should check his memory, or he could just confirm his agenda book with Chuck Gragel. Also, Virginia Marujo, she was the one who came in. Mute your phone. She's the one who came in before and was the reason for the cease and desist the last time, as well as using Facebook shame tactics. And the attorney who wrote the letter was Joe Ulibarri, the former ADA. So if nobody remembers, I'm sure we could just call him again as well.
Thank you. Jess, just let me tell you why regardless of what was said, the reason why, and I'm going to give others the opportunity to speak here too. The reason why Chuck and Bill showed up at your store was because you were raising several concerns, and I thought that yes, you were raising several concerns prior to them arriving. Mayor
Trujillo, let me interrupt you real quick.
Let me finish.
Let me interrupt you because That's not the case. Bill came.
Yes, it is.
Bill came 2 months before filming started, unannounced with no appointment. And I think that what happened, I think the timeline is skewed here. This happened before any contact was made with you all. I did not make contact with you or Bill Taylor or Bill Hendrickson until after he came into the store. I had absolutely no idea that they were going to be filming. The film company came, let me continue speaking, please. When the film company came in and talked to us about our rate, I gave them a very fair rate. I gave them our market value rate, and Bill Hendrickson then came after and said, you are asking for quote unquote a lot of money, which is a violation of our civil rights as a business. So he came to make sure that we would try and play ball, which is fine. I understand that. But we're still owed $9,000. So these movie companies don't pay everybody in a timely manner. And they've made me go to very far extents that I should not have to go to. I should not have to give them a profit and loss for my last 3 Tuesdays previous to them coming to prove to them that that's actually the amount of money that I made. And I was $800 off of a very large figure. So, my staff suffers, my salespeople suffer. They work on commission. They don't get paid. The store loses money to have staffers sitting around and doing nothing all day. So this is affecting a lot of your constituents. I mean,
is your store closed?
The thing
is your store closed during filming?
Our store lost $10,000 compared to if you would read my email that I sent to you, which I provided the profit and loss, you'll see that we lost $10,000 compared to the last 3 Tuesdays average. So it's a very large expense.
Is your store closed during filming?
It's not closed, but they're still paying the employees to be there, and no customers are coming through. So not only are they not having the income of new sales being generated, they're having the loss of having to pay employees to be there.
And the customers cannot enter your store?
It blocks off all the foot traffic, Louis. I mean, when you cut off Grand and these people park and block 6th Street, there's not many ways to get onto Douglas. And then the other thing is that with Mr. Taylor, he's talked to me about the trash issue in the back, and I've told him that we need police monitoring the back, which hasn't happened. So none of my employees feel safe parking in the back, so they park on Douglas, and it takes up all the parking. And there's also movie vans parking on Douglas and road closure signs all over the place, so it deters a lot of customers from even driving that way.
And you guys all know that nobody in Las Vegas walks. If there's not a parking in the front, they're not going to walk. You guys all know that.
Okay, thank you.
Just, I don't want to get into the trash issue. I mean, that is the responsibility of the business, but
Bill, Bill, I'm going to interrupt you there again. It is an issue because you brought it up to me as an issue, and I texted you on Friday, and you did not respond back to me. The dump was closed for 3 days. I had to load 2 trucks full of trash, and that's not all right for our guys to have to drive to Wagon Mount to dispose of our trash. It is a separate issue, but it is an issue that the city does not make it safe back there for employees to park, so therefore they have to park on Douglas. It's part of the same issue. And I've asked you to have a police presence back there, and you all do not respond to that.
So, Mr. Price, can I answer and actually complete a sentence and a thought without interruption?
You sure may, but if you say something that's not true, I am going to interrupt you.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Romero?
I was just, I know, we have this issue, but, the intent of this meeting was to get input from everybody. I think we understand where Mr. Price is coming from. So we can get, and not to shut you off, Mr. Price, but, we do have a time allotted here, and we could hear from others. And then, if we have more time, then we could get into some more, more technical issues. But at this time, Mr. Mayor, if we can move on and get other input.
Sure. And the other thing I want to tell you, Jess, is that this meeting is happening because of you.
I'm glad it should be. And I'll close by saying, I don't want this to be a negative thing, but I do really, really think that if the city works harder at getting rates from all of the businesses that are affected before they allow their streets to be shut down by the film companies, and we work together, it can work for every single citizen and every single business.
Point well taken. Thank you, Jess. And thank you, Ray Don, for being here.
Hey, thanks for the late invitation.
All right. Is anybody else wanting to speak at this time? I saw that Mr. Garcia is there from Al Rialto. It'd be interesting. Hi,
Yeah, I'm
Gabriel.
here. So basically, I agree with just about everything that Jess Price said. Compensation for loss of business has to be handled on a personal matter with the film companies and the individual business, and the city sort of being like a liaison there to make sure that everything's copacetic. What Radon said, people, when they see production going on Bridge Street, they will not come to the Rialto. It's just, it's frustrating because we have a beautiful parking lot in the back that's lit. We have the breezeway. We have everything available for the customers to come in. But the minute they see any production going on, my business goes down the tank. And it's actually better for me to just close the restaurant than to have staff sitting there on their phones. I know we've already cleaned the place 10 times over. There's nothing more we can do. And I've had good interactions with film companies where they did compensate me for what my sales were supposed to be that day. And I've had bad experiences with the film companies where I got like a $200 check that I literally just ripped up and didn't even cash it in because it was an insult to me. And I felt sick to my stomach that this was done to me. And ever since then, I made it a point never to be in that position again. I love the film companies. I love that they represent Las Vegas. I do notice foot traffic in my restaurant with the crew that works. You know, they come in, they love my food. It's great. But when there is film production, my business tanks severely. I have a brand new POS system, so I have all the data to show what sales would have been last week and opposed to when they are going to film. And so for some reason, film companies tend to film on Thursdays and Fridays on Bridge Street, which are the worst times that they can possibly film. I know they can film on Saturdays and Sundays because just by the rules, but if they could, I wish film companies would sort of really do their research onto when is the best time to film on our street. And I know they have a huge schedule. I know they're what they have to go through is a lot in terms of scheduling where their locations are at, but it would really help us if they would really understand that on Thursdays and Fridays, even starting Wednesdays, business starts to go up. People start to go into the weekend and they come out later. They see any film production, it's a nightmare. Roswell does set up a cop at the bottom of Bridge Street to allow traffic in and out. The papers that we get that they post on our door says that the cops will be oscillating traffic in and out as they're filming. I sat there and watched the cops stop traffic for over 2 hours. No one was coming in. No one was being allowed in. They were just redirecting the traffic. They weren't letting people in and out. And all of this because the nature of film production, they don't know exactly how things are going to go. The schedules are never 100% followed because that's just the nature of the beast when you come to filming. I don't understand why people don't park in the back. Like Radon said, the minute there's no parking, they won't walk. I don't get it. It's frustrating. So I just close. I have to close my business because it's going to cost me more money. I'm going to be in the negative if I have all my staff here just waiting for people to come in. They'll just drive to McDonald's. They'll just drive somewhere else that's more convenient. They will not stop and come in. So the compensation that we get for these movie production companies, it's not us jacking them around. We're not trying to rob them. We're just trying to make what profits we should have been making that night on compared to other weeks. And all we ask is that someone wants to film something there. As much as I love the film companies, and certain film companies are a little better than others, so I really hope that the Outer Limit food movie people work a little better with us. I've had a meeting with them. It seems like it went well. Chuck was there with me. I feel that they really understood where I was coming from. That I'm not. It's not highway robbery. I'm not trying to take something that's more than I need. I'm just trying to get what's due to me, my family, and my employees. So I've had good and I've had bad. And right now, I'm seeing if it's going to be good or not with this new movie production company. So far, their interaction with me and involvement in me has been okay. They're kind of a little late to the game. It takes a little long time for them to respond to me, but I know they're busy, so hopefully that doesn't become, an issue. I do have a meeting with them tomorrow to go over some details on our contract, but again, it's between the individual company, the individual business, and the film company, and I think that's very important that the city recognizes that and sort of mediates that. So
thank you, Mr. Garcia.
I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. And I'd like to just say that you've given us some good insight. So if anybody's not using their microphone, if you could please go silent for a while or mute it, because there's a lot of background noise at this time.
If possible, I would like to speak.
Sure, I'll give you 1 second, Sarah. Thank you, Gabriel. You've given me some ideas as to what we can work with, and maybe even talk about the filming days. Hopefully, move them to other days that aren't as popular as Thursday and Friday. And we can work with. Thank you, Gabriel. Sarah Jo.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. And I think this is a great idea. I think communication goes a long ways. I'm one of those people who is currently directly benefiting from the movie company. I leased a building. It's on Bridge Street. That can be great for me, and it's really good for the hotels. But sometimes it's not always great for our neighbors. And I'm aware that there's an issue. Gabe is correct when he says that not all production companies are basically created equally. For example, there were some kind of issues when Roswell first came, but they learned early on. Places like Douglas and Bridge Street are always going to be places that people want to film. They learned that if they filmed, and this is what Roswell did, they would film on a Monday night or a Tuesday night. We were the only business open at that time. So instead of having to compensate 12 businesses, they would just have to compensate one. And I do think that compensation should be based on daily sales. Not all businesses are equal, and we never had a problem. We would show them our books, show them what our average sales were. At the end of the day, we're all in this as business owners. We do what we do to make a living. But I think there are suggestions that can be made. Hey, make sure that you touch base with businesses. Make sure that you aren't filming on prime days. Roswell began filming at night, and it was cheaper for them to film at night than to compensate every single business on Bridge Street. Our community still got that money. Our hotels were still full, and it didn't. And actually, I feel like they spent more time in our businesses because they were open during the day. So I think there's things we can do as a community, and there's recommendations that we can make to film on low traffic days. And again, Roswell did a really great job. There were some issues at the beginning, but then they would. I mean, there's days where they would say we're closing the street temporarily, and my business at the bar would be nothing. And it doesn't matter. Anytime they obstruct traffic, even for a minute, the public sees the traffic's being obstructed, and they go to your competition. And I think that if Las Vegas is going to have a long-term relationship with film, we definitely need to have policies that work for the people who live here too. I love having them in our town, in our stores, in our hotels, in our restaurants. But we definitely don't want to be putting out our neighbors. And we are the people who pay taxes 365 days a year. So I think there's definitely compromise that can be made. One of my biggest suggestions, talk to the business owners. When are our slowest days, especially in the historic districts? And recommend they do night. They might actually save them money to film at night, so they don't have to compensate so many businesses, and there's not such a negative impact. Those are just some of my ideas. I hope that the city and all its business owners can navigate this together to have a positive economic outcome for everyone. Again, I'm one of those people right now. We leased one of our buildings out that we own on Bridge Street, and it's great for us to financially benefit, but it does make me feel guilty if, the filming that's occurring at our building is hurting my neighbors. That doesn't make me feel good. I want to make sure that this is something that's positive for everyone, not just a few of us.
Thank you, Sarah Jo.
Thank you
I
for
think
hosting this meeting.
that's exactly what the intention of this meeting was, so that we can get ideas. Again, meeting was simply at the request of one business owner that opened my eyes to think that there are some good ideas out there, and that's exactly why we're hosting this meeting tonight. And I appreciate your input very much.
Mr. Mayor,
can I say something real quick? Oh, okay. Oh, I am muted.
Sure, go ahead.
So
we can hear you.
Like everybody else was saying, and like Sarah's saying, look, and I know that these guys don't film on Sunday for whatever reason. I think it's because of unions. I don't understand that. That's not my business. But really, if these guys filmed on Sunday and they did not obstruct my business, I'd be happy to have them there. They can come shut down the street anytime they want on a Sunday, and you won't hear a complaint from me. Or if they want to do it at 5:30 or after, and they're cleaned up by the next day and not blocking traffic from coming in, I'm happy to have them here. I'm happy to have them frequent the hotels. I'm happy to have them eat in our restaurants and leave money in Las Vegas. It's just when it interferes with people's interests, that's when it becomes an issue. But I agree that at night, it causes no problem at all.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we also had the superintendents from both East Las Vegas and West Las Vegas that are, and they do, work with the films also. So I don't know if they had a couple things to say. We also had Rosemary Sanchez from Super 8 Hotel, and Alan Alfeld has his hand raised. So if any of you guys want to say anything.
Can I say something real quick?
Who's this?
I'm Samantha. I'm from New Mexican Natural Medicine, the dispensary on Lincoln.
Hi, Samantha. Sure. Welcome.
Hi. And I have to agree with Jess and Gabe and Sarah and all that, because it's some days it's good, some days it's bad. Like when Gabe was talking about a good timing for filming, Las Vegas's bread and butter is the first of the month. I mean, this last filming, they're trying to block off traffic on the 1st and 2nd. That's one of our bread and butter days. And it's like, how are we supposed to make that money where there's cops blocking off all the ways to get to us? And they say, go ahead and take a detour, but there's like an alleyway detour, and that's shady and people don't want to do that. So it's just one of those things where timing and just agreement with businesses, because at the same time, they just said we had to eat it. They didn't offer us anything. We just have to have the loss. And I mean, we're trying to do more than just have a dispensary. We're trying to help people with their issues, their medical issues. So we want to help people. We run a lot of curbside. So they're having people park from other businesses on our street, which takes up all of our parking. So it's just one of those things where I agree, if we all work together with them, it would benefit everybody beautifully.
Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate your input very much.
Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. Mr. Alfeld, welcome.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate the comments. I think too often people don't understand how hard it is to run a small business and to take care of so many employees, which means you're taking care of so many families in Las Vegas. I think it would be helpful if there was some kind of coordinated city response. The city could help to be a broker here and make just kind of a general understanding with the film companies that when they affect a business, the business has to be fairly compensated. And of course, the film companies know that. It doesn't need to be a complicated or difficult negotiation. I think the businesses can pretty easily demonstrate how much they would have earned on the day that they were shut down. And then the film companies will make a rational decision and say, yeah, we could film on Sundays because it'll save us a bunch of money. So I think it is easier if the city helps to play like kind of a good broker rule, but not try to negotiate a specific deal for a specific business. My business sometimes really benefits from filming, and sometimes it's really hurt from filming. Obviously, when they're staying in the hotels, that's great. Oftentimes, they just come up and they're staying in Santa Fe or someplace else, and they leave very little money in town, except for some of the people that they hire. A lot of the hiring, they're bringing people in from Santa Fe or Albuquerque too. So that might be part of the discussion with the film crews is to say, hey, you need to hire in Las Vegas and keep as much of that money in town as possible. Like catering is almost always out of catering trucks. So sometimes they eat, they might go to a bar after hours, but restaurants don't get anything out of it because the catering contracts aren't let to restaurants in Las Vegas. They could be, but they're not. So that's the kind of general negotiation where the city could be helpful. I am really worried about public response. I think some of you may know that 3 of the film vans were vandalized a couple days ago. Somebody thought it'd be a good idea to throw paint on the vans. This is a terrible thing for the city of Las Vegas. There are cities everywhere that would love to have this business. This is a huge economic impact. The film companies need to be made welcome and safe and secure. And so there's a fair amount of hating that goes around, and I think that's a really dangerous thing for Las Vegas if that sort of thing is encouraged. So I think when there is an issue with the film companies, it's important to raise it in a respectful way and say, we need to resolve this instead of saying we hate them, they're outsiders, they don't belong here, and we need to try to damage their business and chase them off. That's the worst possible outcome. So I think there's some very positive things we can do, but hopefully we can address it being positive. Thanks for the invitation.
Alan, where did that vandalism take place?
It was on Plaza Park. There were several locations around the park, and it was only the catering vans. I mean, only the shuttle vans. So it was clearly a targeted attack.
I wasn't made aware of that, and I'm very disappointed. But I'll definitely I'll get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, that's a very, very serious threat. That's an attack on the city of Las Vegas. I mean,
It sure is.
Hey, Mayor, this is Deputy Chief Stumberg. I'd like to know what the dates were that vandalism happened so I can address it. And don't they have security there, Mayor?
Yeah, do you know when it happened, Alan?
I know police reports were filed. I think it was 3 nights ago.
Maybe the Las Vegas live cameras could have seen them too.
I'll check on that, Mayor, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sternberg. I really appreciate it. We got to get to the bottom of that.
Don't these crews have security? Don't they usually have security to be monitoring that kind of stuff?
Who's speaking?
Sorry, this is Isaac Sandoval.
Hi, Isaac.
Sorry, I don't know why my camera's not on. Yeah, don't they have security? I mean, every time I've driven around, I've seen a security crew or something. Is that what happened there? That must have been some sort of misstep, right? I mean, on Plaza?
I know they have security during filming, but I'm not sure if they have it after hours.
Okay, well, it is disappointing, like Alan said, to hear that kind of stuff is happening. So, you know,
They do have security in there 24 hours. I think there's too many people with their mics on mute, but they do have security 24
I'm
hours.
sorry, if you're not using your microphone, could you please mute at this time? Thank you. Mr. Sandoval, could you share with us your experience with the companies that come through town for the skillet?
there have been times where it's been inconvenient, and you know, anytime that they block off any road on Douglas or national, it definitely, affects traffic here. We have had some interactions where, I guess for me, we haven't really had too many closures yet. They haven't really tried to shut us down without paying us. I don't know. I really think that they should. I agree. I hear everyone's frustration on all of their points. I think there should be some sort of way that we can, as business owners, kind of gauge where we're at. And, okay, well, we can look back at last March and see where we are and when, how our business was or the average, but it's tricky. I mean, okay, that day last year could have been totally snowed out, and but I do think there needs to be some sort of blueprint or format. And I agree with everyone about, just thinking about how we communicate as a community with the city and businesses. Any type of closure, any type of road closure or water shutdown, I think should be. And I mean, I don't know. We get a small amount of customer business from the movie companies. I don't know. I think that there's a way that Vegas can come out on top with this in terms of attracting more movies to come here, and none of the businesses being upset about it. On a separate note, completely, with Gabe brought up, I think that we should be pushing Vegas to be a little bit more walking friendly. Why is that parking lot always empty? Really, it should not be when roads are closed. People shouldn't be giving up. So I don't know. I think we should try and encourage people to be outside, especially now with COVID. But I don't know if my points are relevant. I've had very little experience. I mean, yeah, we want to be welcoming. I think we should totally try and make it all work. Absolutely, but I think it needs to work for everyone.
So Isaac, have you seen any financial impact on your business at all? Do people come into your store? The people from the movie companies?
Lately they've been doing a few. When they do scouts, some of the companies, they call me and they'll ask for, orders of 12, small orders, stuff like that. And we try to accommodate everything. We don't turn away any business, and anytime that they've tried to film here, I tell them, close me down, please. I would love a day off, seriously. But I mean, I don't want to do that without being able to pay my employees at the very least, and cover my overhead for the day. That's all I would really want in situations like that. And I mean, yeah, they've come for 5 years ago when they did that one of those movies. We took the trailer out there and we stayed out all night cooking for them. But they do have their own catering stuff. I think they try. I don't know if they try hard enough, but.
Okay. Thank you, Isaac. I appreciate it. And that's exactly what this meeting is about, is to get ideas on, again, how we can represent the business community a little better with these companies and have better communication. And I appreciate you being on the phone, Isaac, as well. Troy Dennison is on the line. He's the manager over at Days Inn and at Best Western. Troy?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mayor?
Go ahead. Yes, thank you, Troy.
So one thing I'd like to point out that nobody has is signage helps. Jess, I saw on Grand Avenue Price's Furniture Open sign where they had blocked the road in front of the El Fidel Hotel for Price's Furniture. I know when they filmed down on Bridge Street, I've gone down there and maybe they blocked it off for an afternoon or intermittently, but I'll see signs that said, I don't know, Tome on the Range open, rear entrance open, or stuff like that. So that may be one avenue to look at. I think somebody brought up COVID. Let me tell you, every one of these people is tested every day. They do it in my meeting room for the people that are at my hotel. Every day they get a test. So They are being tested. There's COVID nurses staying in my hotel, watching my housekeepers clean these rooms. It was part of the deal they made with the governor to make these people essential workers. My last thing I want to get, the last two things I want to talk about is, I agree that business owners should be compensated. Our hotels don't always get business, just like Allen's don't. Sometimes they come in, they film, they leave. Sometimes they stay downtown at the plaza and they leave. So we don't always benefit, but I know that the community benefits from lodger's tax, and you get lodger's tax from people staying in hotel rooms. The last thing I want to say is, a lot of times when businesses want to be compensated, because I have walked around with the Lindsay Hills and the Annette's and all those film commissioners to different businesses, and I'm telling you, I'm not saying all of them, people lie. When you say your business makes $20,000, and I know for a fact there's no way, the film crew just looks at them like they're crazy. And I think, like Jess did, he was fair. He showed them 3 Tuesdays, and that's fair. And I think they should be compensated on a fair basis. I totally agree. But I mean, there was a business owner that spit in a producer's face, and that's uncalled for. That's just as bad as somebody throwing paint on a vehicle. And to Deputy Chief, who's on the phone, I want to thank you and your officers, because I have a bazillion film trucks in my parking lot, and your officers are driving my parking lot constantly, especially at night. And I've had no damage. And I'm sorry that did happen in the plaza, because I agree with Alan. That's uncalled for. And film is a big business for us. There's not big industry in our community, and we should all, hotels, restaurants, gas stations, we're leaving them out. We should all work together to make this profitable for each and every business and the community as a whole, because they can go anywhere. Roswell rented the Santa Fe Film Studio for a year, and they built their own soundstage to take away filming from other communities because they were tired of getting screamed and yelled at. I'm not saying that happened here, but film has many options, and they own those studios. And I was actually at Netflix studio this weekend. Today, they're building new buildings. They don't have to come to towns anymore. They can do this stuff on green screens. So I agree, Louis. Thank you, Mayor and Councilor, for putting this meeting together, because I think more of these need to happen to where it becomes the town is a welcome amenity to film, instead of just a few businesses or a few people, and the whole community welcomes them, and their name's on the reader board, and everybody is aware that they're coming and that it's profitable for everybody. Thank you.
I agree with Troy. This is Isaac Sandoval again. I think this is a huge opportunity for Vegas to really grow as a community and have an industry here with the limited size of capacity that we have as a town. Like, we could really do something to, like, have an industry here where people are coming and going to Vegas, and not just for tourism anymore. I think it's really exciting. I think we should find every way to make it work as a community. And it's awful to hear kind of that stuff that Troy's saying. That's terrible. Spitting in someone's face. I'm sorry that's happening.
I'd like to just speak really quick. The COVID concern that Jess brought up wasn't about people coming into film. That wasn't the issue. The general concern was that our clientele and people who are local are traveling outside to meet their needs that they're not able to meet here. Of course, we know everybody has that risk, but it's not the concern about the film. It was the concern for our townspeople.
And who's speaking, please?
That was Ray Dawn.
Thank
Me.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ray Dawn. So that's exactly what this meeting was for, is to start generating some idea and talking points as to how, again, we could be better neighbors with the business community when it comes to filming. So that's exactly the intent of this meeting. So we will take everybody's considerations and comments, and we will definitely put together some of these thoughts that we have, and we will meet and we will come up with a good way of meeting with these film companies and open up Las Vegas and make sure that businesses are properly compensated. And we will try our best to minimize the closure of Main Street. Sarah Joe's point is well taken, about filming on other days other than the first of the month, or of course Thursday and Friday, like Gabriel said. So we will definitely take all that into consideration. Does anybody else have any comments at this time? I saw that Las Vegas First Business Alliance, Independent Business Alliance joined. Does he have any comments? And you're muted, so.
Meredith wants to speak.
Who?
This is Meredith. Can you hear me?
Yes, Meredith.
Just two suggestions. One was about a year and a half or two ago, I was in a public meeting with Dr. Minner of Highlands, the president, and he said if this community wanted to build a film studio, he would get behind it. It was the strongest thing he said in this community meeting. And the other thing is, have we talked to any other cities or towns in any kind of similar situation to see how they're handling this? And that was just my suggestion.
Thank you, Meredith. We've been in contact with a couple of other, and maybe Chuck wants to talk a little bit about that.
Hi, Mayor. Yes, liaisons. We meet, the city film liaisons meet once a month. So we're talking from Raton all the way to Las Cruces, and we exchange notes and possibilities of things we could do different. And we're in communication monthly with the film office as well. So I'll bring up a lot of these points to the Film Commission, film liaisons around the state, and see what they think.
Thank you so much, Chuck.
Hey, Louis, this is Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
Hey, I'm sorry I got in so late. I had a gazillion things to do today, but I'm tuning in for Las Vegas First. And I really missed the whole entire meeting except the last 10 minutes. But I want to say that, I think generally it has been handled way, way better than in the past, the film industry. And I think you guys at the city and Chuck and the film companies have been extremely accommodating to try to reach everybody, to try to forewarn everybody of the dates that have been set. And that is really a new thing that has not happened in the 2 years ago. And so I just want to compliment that firstly. And I know we have to iron out, things that have not worked so well, like that last time they were, taking all the parking on the plaza, and I'm sure that came up as an issue. And but before that time, I would say that the last year and a half before COVID was handled well, and I think we have been well compensated in a fair way. I'm sure there's other businesses that have not been well compensated because of the size of their business. But, as far as my square footage and customer quantity, I feel what I have been offered is fair to me. And so I think, that other businesses need to be looked at different, Price Ilfels is an entirely different category than my, 1,200 square foot store. So they would be affected way differently than I am. So something, has to be looked at, how to give and take and how to make it fair for everybody. But generally, I feel like the direction the city has taken with communication in general with the business community has been really well done. So that's just my contribution for tonight.
Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that very much.
Sure.
I just got a text message from the assistant chief of police. He did see a report come through at 1:40 a.m. where purple paint was splattered all over the vans. And I've just given him a directive that we run a full investigation of that incident, and we will bring people to justice on this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, if we could get some comment real quick. I know Christopher and Larissa were on. If we can get
sure
some of their comments that being involved with the schools. A lot of individuals think that the city itself, it makes a lot of money off film, and indirectly, we don't get too much money from them, but it does bring in even to the schools. And I'll let Chris and maybe Larissa speak a little bit to that.
Sure.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we have dealt with 3 different properties currently at this time. They're looking at later in the spring. I did offer if they needed security. They let me know that they have their own security. I was also cognizant of the fact that their industry has also been hit like our own community's economy. So working with them reasonably, some of the things that I did here, I think that maybe you can, the city can have each business fill out when there's their busiest times, what is their average for each day of the week, what would they be, because each business has their own average of how much it would cost them if they were out, and that way each business supplies that to the city so that we can give that to the movie industry. A lot of things sounds more like communication. I know with the schools, we can help if we know that they're filming on Bridge Street, send out information with our robocalls to the community with our students. I'm sure on both sides, Douglas is open, these businesses are open. However, you will need to enter through these other entrances. They did talk about the cleanup, so I thought maybe I like dealing more with solutions to help people, is maybe when we have our volunteers, maybe we can clean up around our business districts to also help those businesses, because we all know trash gets thrown everywhere. It's not all of our fault, even though we're responsible for our areas. But since the community is having these volunteer groups, maybe we can help the businesses with that as well. So that way it has a clearer path for people to enter, coupled with the movie industry being able to come in and bring that revenue, whether it's gas, grocery stores, whatever it may be, so that way we all can benefit, because we want them to return to Las Vegas. We want us to prosper. Right now, like I said, we've had a very positive relationship with them and discussions. Of course, they're not looking at anything till later in the spring, and even my property out at Mike Mateo, because they will be filming another movie out by Buena Vista, from my understanding. So they'll look at different areas of that nature. But I think from what I heard, it would really help the businesses if they all had like a same sheet that had the information that we compile, and we can even help you. I will volunteer my technology group and us, and we can help compile the questions that the businesses may want to submit or have concerns with. So we get that and compile that for the movie industry, so they have an idea of where we are with that piece. Like I said, we're willing to help in any capacity. I think, again, this is a very positive issue for our community, and we want all our businesses to prosper, and we want everything to be fair for everyone. Everyone had very legitimate concerns this evening. So thank you for having this meeting. I think this will come out in a very positive manner, and as long as we keep coming up with solutions for each other, we will prosper.
Amen. Thank you, Larissa.
You're very welcome.
Bill Hendrickson and Chuck, could you please get in contact with Larissa? That's a great idea. And maybe we can come up with a little questionnaire or a survey, to see how. And thank you, Larissa, for offering. I really appreciate your assistance all the time. You're one of those people who rolls up your sleeves, and thank you so much. And so does Mr. Gutierrez. Dr. Gutierrez, do you have any word at this point?
Good evening, everybody. This is Chris Gutierrez, Superintendent, West Las Vegas Schools. And I think these types of meetings are very important. I agree with a lot of what people are saying. We need to communicate. We need to work together. We need the income coming into our town. The way I look at it right now is what people need to understand when it comes to myself and Larissa and us having to work with budgets. Oil and gas are what run school systems, and 82 to 90% of our budget has to go towards the kids, which is paying the teachers for a service to educate students. And when it comes to everything else, well, we have to figure out ways of spreading whatever budget is left over from that. And when it comes to the film industry, they've helped out in some fashion for the past few years. This is my 5th year as superintendent for West Las Vegas schools, and each year we've had a film industry using our parking lots at the high school site behind the plaza area as base camp. And we work around them. When we had students in the buildings, we're able to work around them. They're able to work around us. Again, like some of them said, they are doing COVID testing within one of our ancillary gyms where they do it every single morning. And they have nurses on site just for safety purposes so that they could follow COVID rules. And these monies that we get from the movie industry, they go back into the big pot of money. And we're able to utilize these monies to help the students out. Everything's for the students. And we use them to maybe pay for meals when they go on mesa trips or basketball trips, or let's say there's a 4th grade class that wants to go to the pumpkin patch, and not all students were able to raise the money to get to the pumpkin patch. Well, we have these resources that we've gathered from these film industries, and we're actually able to utilize these monies for purposes at that point. And again, they help with the kids so that they could get what they need extra on top of, because not all parents in our community are able to pay $40 for every trip or meals for kids to go. So we have to figure out ways and get smart with these things. And the film industry does help us to reach those goals and get these kids to experience things that maybe they'll never experience again.
Well, that's wonderful news. Thank you for doing that, Mr. Gutierrez, and thank you for, I know you utilize your funds very carefully, and I'm all for that one person who can't afford to go to the pumpkin patch, and if you're ever in a situation like that, call me and I'll pay for that. Because it's one of those things that the school districts do well, and everybody comes in to pitch in. But thank you for that, Mr. Gutierrez. I appreciate it.
And thank you. And one last thing, Mayor, the same thing like Larissa stipulated, if there's anything that you need from us, we figure the 2 districts put together, we have 3,000 students. So we're able to get the word out to a lot of people in town, and we'll help out however we can. The film industry usually does come to me about a month or 2 prior to them actually coming into the city. So if there's anything that we need to do as the 2 districts, I think we could work together and put something together with your guys' help, and then we can get it out as fast as we can using all our different technology ways of getting it out there to people.
Thank you so much. And, it's really nice to see both school districts working so closely together. And I meet with them all the time on different meetings, and they're always there they're a big part of our community, and we really appreciate you, and we really appreciate you all working together. I'm going to start winding down this meeting, but I'd like to tell everybody that,
Mr. Mayor, if you can, before you wind down, can I have a few comments and, suggestions, to the business members, if I can?
Sure. Go ahead, Mr. Romero.
Well, first of all, thank you, everybody. And I know that, it's not perfect. And I just want to give, my take on all this is, in the past, we've had many films come into our community. Midnight Texas was one of them. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but Midnight Texas basically rebuilt the whole railroad district in a studio because of certain situations. You could call it politics, you could call it whatever it was. They decided that it was cheaper to go ahead and do the filming. I'm sorry, I don't know if somebody's mic is on, but they decided to go ahead and build basically Bridge Street, and they used basically the building or foundation of Castanedas, things that are staples that distinguish Las Vegas, New Mexico, and basically didn't have to pay us anything. You know what I mean? So it's been a frustration of mine is that they're able to do that, and we don't get compensated. So I'm pro film for this community because that's one area in economic development that I see that we could benefit from. I mean, as you're all aware, we don't have the resources, waters, or other that to bring in a big manufacturing. Of course, we'd love to do that as city leaders, but there, this is something that we could take advantage. That a lot of these film studios, that they like our historical, the history that we have in our community, and I'd hate for them to build the plaza somewhere else or build Douglas Avenue because we can't come together. And you got to understand that there's going to be some films that they can afford to pay, the daily losses that we may have. But there's going to be some small films that you guys got to, we got to keep in consideration that there might be a small film and they're not going to have their 10 semis or their, 3 catering trucks or whatever. But they are going to take parking spaces. And we need to take that into consideration. I know in the past, some businesses have been paid to basically paid for their day, but yet they still open, and that's not fair either. You know what I mean? They're getting, some businesses have been paid, but yet they still stay open, and it becomes a big burden. So, just different ideas that we have to think about, and eventually we're gonna have to come up with a plan, Mr. Mayor. Is that we got to understand, the different things that are happening, and of course, I'm sure we're all pro film, but of course we want to be compensated fairly and not shoo away these filming companies, because I've been involved in a couple films, and these filming producers, they have a network. They're one big network, and if one producer talks bad about our community, that's bad, because that'll discourage others from coming in here. So we really need to work together, and whatever differences we have, come up with something that's fair. And I know, Mr. Price, I haven't had a chance to speak with you, and I understand your frustration, but at the same time, like I said, there is going to be smaller, filming companies that are going to come in and that might not be able to your whole day, or just, take that into consideration. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be negative or anything. I did do some research on other communities that basically the road, I mean, they collect a parking permit for, let's say, the parking areas in front of the businesses, and the city itself keeps those. And that's not nothing that we want to do, but we're allowing these the film companies to, if they're giving you it might not be much, someone could get $50 for those parking spaces, but other communities, they're collecting those fees, and we don't want to do that. We see the bigger picture that, the grocery receipts, the Dodgers tax, all these other funds in general, the ordering the 20 burritos from Skillet or whatever it may be. We understand the bigger picture that in general, that money is going to bring, that we're going to be able to fix the potholes that we haven't been in the past, because we, for whatever reason, filming was discouraged in our community. And right now, as Chuck mentioned, we have 2, possibly other 3 coming in. That's five films that will be filmed here. That it's all a benefit, and in the long run, that's something that we can thrive off of, and eventually, market to our advantage. We've had a lot of film here that we haven't basically marketed enough. I feel we could do more. But there's a lot more that we can do, and this is something we could take advantage. But of course, we want to make sure that you all are happy, and we're not. We understand that every single one of you businesses in our community, you're very important to our tax base also, and we don't want to discourage that. But we need to work together and not push these companies out. But at the same time, we don't want to shut you guys out either, and just understand where we're coming from. We got to look at the bigger picture as the mayor, myself, and other councilors, that it's a bigger picture, we're not trying to, specifically help one individual or one business or one, the filming itself. We're trying to look at the bigger picture and bringing jobs and helping out the schools and different things. And that's why everybody's here. And thank you, Mayor, for putting this together. And I appreciate it. And I'll leave it at that. my 2 cents. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Romero was instrumental in getting this meeting going, and I appreciate it, as so was Loretta Martin, trying to make all the contacts with all the business people in town. We're not perfect.
Mayor Trujillo, can I close and saying one other thing, just real quick, like I won't take too long?
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, my thing is I don't want to be seen as negative to Las Vegas or anything like that. I'm very pro Las Vegas. We've had this business here for 50 years. Obviously, the people of Las Vegas have been very good to our business, and that's why we're still here and around. The frustration for me is that, Mr. Hendrickson came to the store about 2 months in advance, and we've been working on this and haven't seen resolution. But I do understand where Mr. Romero is coming from. There's very valid points, and that this is a good thing for town. And by no means do I want these producers or anything like that to be intimidated. It's just when we're open and that they are, we're oftentimes just competing for the same space. And a lot of the times it's the safety of my guys that I'm concerned about. They're moving very big, heavy objects. So that's another part of it as well. But I think that, if they could fairly compensate us, we can and work together. And like I was talking to Chuck about a rate sheet, I feel like we can come up with a complete answer together, because at the end of the day, it's a very large circle and everybody can help each other. And if we figure out a way to compensate businesses fairly or give businesses notifications, and if businesses know that they are going to be compensated, they can have less staff and still be profitable for that day and time. So my big thing is I think if we all work together, this can be a definite positive thing for the town. And that's all that I want at the end of the day.
Thank you, Jess.
Mayor, this is...
I appreciate it.
Can I interject real quick, Mayor? This is Chief Crispin.
Go ahead, Mr. Crispin.
Jess, I know you had a concern about the back alley area on the business of yours in reference to that parking lot. Can you give me a call tomorrow and so we could discuss that? I don't know what's going on there, so we could see if we could do something for you.
I would love to. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
If you have my number, give me a call.
You've got it. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you. So yes, I opened up my statement, like closing statement, by saying we're not perfect, and that's exactly why I called this meeting. We want to get perfect. We want to be perfect. We want the city to operate better. We want to bring solutions to the table. We want to hear the business people and make sure that we hear them. This meeting was encouraged and totally was a good idea by Don Price. I made a promise to him that I would have this meeting and hear from everybody. And so we sent out tons of email invitations to everybody regarding this meeting. This won't be the last meeting, and we will be working little by little to make this perfect for everybody. I appreciate everybody's cooperation. I appreciate your attending the meeting. And everybody has my cell phone number. If you don't, look it up. It's on the web. And some of you have my personal cell phone, which is perfect. Please call me. And once again, we're meeting here to bring solutions and to make things better for everybody. And again, once again, I'd like to thank everybody for their participation tonight. And we'll be talking to everybody soon. We really appreciate your input.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.